everybody. We're going to give it just a couple minutes to let people trickle in. So just reheat that coffee, pour yourself a cup of tea, and we'll get started in just a couple minutes. My friends, welcome, welcome. You are here at the EDCU webinar. We're going to talk today about COVID-19 resources that came from the American Rescue Plan. My name is Emily Barony. I'm with Visionality, and we are a very, very proud EDC client. I'm here today as your co-host, and we've got our crack tech team running the Zoom for you today. I've got just a couple housekeeping items before we get started. Number one, everyone is muted and your cameras are off. This is being recorded, and you'll get an email with the link to the recording and any resources that we talk about in the next few days. We are actually not going to share the slides with you because this information changes so rapidly. And so instead, what we're going to do is direct you to the EDC website because that is updated continually. So we'll go ahead and put a link to that in the chat. That is the place to get the most up-to-date information. When you have questions, please submit them to the Q&A feature. You click Q&A at the bottom of your screen. If you are dialing in today by phone, get a piece of paper and a pen out. You can submit questions to us via email. You can email your questions to webinar@edcollaborative.com. So one more time, if you're calling in by phone, you can email questions to webinar@edcollaborative.com. If you have any tech issues, please put them in the chat. We've got Brianne from my team standing by to help. At the end of this webinar, we will also be sharing the phone number for our business assistance line. It offers assistance in English and Spanish, and we're here to help. So this is a webinar series. It's ongoing, and we're going to keep showing up for you as long as you need the help. As long as you're here today, you'll be on our email list, so you'll get an invite to our next webinar. And actually, Juliana, can you hop in? I'm throwing this on your plate real quick. You want to hop in and just give a brief welcome to any of our Spanish-speaking friends?
Muchas gracias. Oops. Muchas gracias a todos por estar aquí con nosotros. Este seminario está siendo transmitido en español y les damos la bienvenida. Muchas gracias por estar acompañándonos. Si tienen más preguntas o necesitan asistencia en español, por favor no duden en llamar a nuestra oficina y con mucho gusto los dirigiremos con algún asesor que hable español y también a otros recursos en su idioma. Muchas gracias otra vez por estar aquí con nosotros.
Thank you, my friend. And with that, I'd like to introduce Jasmine McGinty. She's with the County of Santa Barbara. Jasmine, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We're very excited to be co-hosting this webinar with the Economic Development Collaborative to try and get all our businesses in Santa Barbara County as much information as possible. Like Emily said, I'm Jasmine McGinty. I'm with the County of Santa Barbara, and we are just looking to get as much information out as possible. So we're more than grateful to be partnering with the Economic Development Collaborative on this effort. All of our information is going to be at recoverysbc.org if you have any questions for us at the end. And with that, I'm going to transfer it over to Juliana Ramirez with the EDC, and she's going to delve into the American Rescue Plan Act and the resources that are available through that. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Jasmine, and thank you everyone again for joining us. Like Jasmine said, I'm Juliana Ramirez. I'm an EDC SBDC advisor, and I'm a finance accounting expert. I've been an accounting professional and bookkeeper, as well as entrepreneur and business advisor. I'm a certified QuickBooks Online Pro advisor with over 20 years of experience. I've trained and helped small businesses, including my own, JR Bookkeeping, from restaurants to retail stores, car dealerships, to dental offices and nonprofit organizations. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here with you. Today, we will be covering an overview of the American Rescue Plan. We will also cover California and local relief resources available as a result of this American Rescue Plan Act, and we will have plenty of time for Q&A. We encourage you to post your questions on the Q&A about any of these programs, anything related to the California Relief Grant Program, the California Rent Relief Program, the second COVID-19 Business Assistance Grant Program, Paycheck Protection Program updates such as, first draw, second draw, modified first draw, loan forgiveness, etc. Employer payroll tax deferrals, employee retention tax credit, the EIDL advance grants, the EIDL loans, SBA Express Bridge loans, SBA debt relief, loan business disruption loans, SBO grant program, and the latest, the restaurant revitalization fund. Feel free to post those questions and we'll do our best to answer them at the end through the Q&A. As you all know, the U.S. House of Representatives on March 10th passed the Senate amended H.R. 1319, which we now know as the American Rescue Plan, or the ARP. The ARP provides 1.93 trillion in additional relief to respond to the novel coronavirus, COVID-19. This follows the enactment of nearly 4 trillion in COVID relief in 2020. President Joe Biden called for Congress to enact the ARP to provide relief for individuals and business struggling due to COVID-19, as well as to achieve other priorities of the Biden administration and Congress. ARP includes provisions on aid to state and local governments, hard-hit industries and communities, tax changes affecting individuals and businesses, and other provisions. The latest COVID relief legislation was enacted as part of the Congress's fiscal year 2021 budget and includes provisions impacting a wide variety of stakeholders. This is why the American Rescue Plan is such a huge bill, because it's part of the fiscal year's 2021 budget. And we will be highlighting a few of the provisions during this presentation. Again, please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A. The first item as part of the disaster relief in the American Rescue Plan is the Emergency Federal Employee Leave Fund. It provides $570 million to establish a fund, the Emergency Federal Employee Leave Fund, to be administered by the Office of Personnel Management, or OPM, to remain available through September 30th, 2020. Funds may be used for reimbursement to an agency or for paid leave by any employee who is unable to work due to quarantine or isolation related to COVID-19, including caring for family members or dependents, and paid leave may not exceed 600 hours for each full-time employee. As we know, our federal employees are essential to our to our small businesses too, and therefore they are being taken care of through these leave fund. Also, Paycheck Protection Program, it appropriates an additional $7.25 billion to the U.S. Small Business Administration for the PPP program. It expanded PPP eligibility to include additional tax-exempt nonprofits, such as 501c5s, labor and agricultural organizations, and community locations of larger nonprofits whose lobbying activities do not compromise more than 15% of its activities. It also includes internet publishing organizations assigned to a North American industry classification, or better known as the NAICS code of 519130, and engaged in the collection and distribution of local, regional, and national news and information. It also added COBRA premium assistance as an allowable payroll cost under the PPP program, which was not a covered expenditure prior to this legislation. And this program expires actually on May 31st, 2021. For the economic injury disaster loan, which was already an existing program, it appropriates $15 billion to the SBA to provide EIDL $10,000 grants to small businesses eligible under Section 331 of the Economic Aid to Hard-Hit Small Businesses, Nonprofits and Venues Act, or Section 1110 of the CARES Act. An update on this is that the loans approved prior to April 7th 2021 for less than 500,000 are likely eligible for an increase based on new loan maximum amounts announced March 24, 2021. Businesses that received a loan subject to the previous loan limit can submit a request for an increase at this time. The SBA is now reaching out directly to loan borrowers via email to provide more details on how businesses can request an increase. Borrowers should expect to receive emails from at sba.gov or updates.sba.gov addresses. If you don't get emails from these addresses, please be careful and be aware that it might not be a legitimate website. So make sure that it comes from sba.gov or updates.sba.gov. You can also email COVID EIDL increase requests at sba.gov using the subject line EIDL increase request and insert your 10-digit application number. For those of you who applied for EIDL disaster loan in the past, when you applied, you were automatically given this loan number. And for those of you who did receive the funds, you should be getting statements from the SBA and your loan number would also be there. So make sure that you include that. Be sure to include in the body of your email identifying information for your current loan, including your application number, your loan number, your business name, business address, business owner's name, and phone number. It would actually be very helpful that you use the original information that you provided to the SBA. If you didn't, if you had a change in any of this information, make sure that you contact the SBA so that it can be updated as well. Do not include any financial documents or tax records with your initial request. You will receive a follow-up email notification if the SBA needs additional documents. Another disaster relief program that the American Rescue Plan includes is for restaurants. It appropriates $28.6 billion for the SBA to administer a grant program to restaurants through a new restaurant revitalization fund. The new grant program follows the enacted of a similar grant program for shuttered live venues enacted in Section 324 of the Economic Aid to Hard-Hit Small Businesses, Nonprofits, and Venues Act enacted in December 2020. Eligible restaurants must certify that the uncertainty of current economic conditions make necessary the grant request to support the ongoing operations of the restaurant. The bill prohibits eligibility of a restaurant that is a state or local government operated business or owns or operates more than 20 locations as of March 13, 2020. It also has a pending application for or has received a grant under SBA Shuttered Live Venue Grant or is a publicly traded company. The maximum grant amount is $10 million per eligible entity and any affiliated businesses, and $5 million per physical location of the eligible entity. Another program is on the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, which was already available. This bill is going to provide an additional $125 billion of funds for this particular program. It was, again, enacted in Section 324 of the Economic Aid to Hard-Hit Small Businesses, Nonprofits, and Venues Act, once again enacted in December 2020. The bill also allows eligible applicants to access both the Shutter Venue Operations Grant and PPP to address SVO's delayed start. Due to technical difficulties, the SBA has temporarily suspended the SVOG application portal. They will share information in advance of the time and date before the reopenings, so all applicants can be prepared and to ensure equitable access. For now, applicants may continue to register for a new account. To access the application portal, we invite you to visit this website on the screen. We also invite you to learn more about the program and the requirements by visiting also this link on the screen. We do know that there is an intention to have this portal back up and running by the end of this week. It's not official yet, but that is the hope. And again, for those businesses who have not started the process to receive an SVOG or access any federal government grants, your business will need to register for a free System for Award Management, better known as the SAM number. And the steps to do that, you will need to create a login.gov account at login.gov. You need to sign up for a Duns and Brad's number or a DUNS number if you don't already have it. It does typically take 1 to 2 business days to process, so be aware of that. You also need to register with SAM at sam.gov/SAM. using your login.gov information, your DUNS number, and standard business information, such as your tax ID number. It can take up to 2 weeks to receive your SAM number. So make sure that you do not register for a SAM number on any other website or pay for a SAM number because this information or this website is free. And for more information on this process, view the sam.gov registration training video, which again, we have the link here on this website. The American Rescue Plan also included unemployment provisions, and the unemployment insurance extension extends enhanced unemployment insurance until September 6, 2021, including the extra $300 federal pandemic unemployment compensation. It also extends pandemic unemployment assistance to the self-employed, gig workers, freelancers, and others who would otherwise not regularly qualify for unemployment insurance. It extends pandemic emergency unemployment compensation for those who exhaust their state benefits to 53 weeks from 24 weeks originally. And also it includes unemployment insurance tax relief. This creates $10,200 tax exclusion for unemployment compensation in tax year 2020 for those with incomes under $150,000. If some of you have already filed your tax return prior to May 17th, you will most likely need to visit your tax accountant and make sure that any changes that affect you if you received unemployment can be applied or amended. And if you haven't filed, then you're in good timing to do that correctly, again, by visiting or talking to your tax accountant. It also includes credit for paid sick and family leave. It extends the availability of paid sick and paid family leave tax credits as established in the Family's First Corona Response Act, or FFCRA, through September 30th, 2021. It also expands eligibility to state and local governments that provide this benefit. It also includes additional information on the employee retention credit. It increases the availability and value of credit to those employers who severely financially distressed, for example, those who experience a severe decline in gross receipts, by allowing such employers to take all wages into account, not just those that are paid for employees not providing services. This employee retention credit, again, was available just for those that were that continued paying their employees on payroll and could only take advantage of this credit. However, with this availability, or this increased availability, now if you still had that significant decrease in your sales and can prove that, then you're able to take advantage of this credit as well. So my recommendation is that you speak to your tax accountant or your payroll provider to help you calculate how you can take advantage of this credit. It also expands credit availability to employers who qualify as a recovery startup business. Those employers who began a trade or business after February 15, 2020, and whose gross receipts average less than $1 million. It expands availability of the credit from the current deadline of June 30th to those wages paid in 2021. As far as the state and local assistance, it does provide a state small business credit initiative. It includes $10 billion for the fund administered by the Treasury Department, and the money is allocated to states to support programs of their own design and can include loan participation programs, venture capital programs, collateral support programs, loan guarantee programs, and capital access programs. Towards the end of the presentation, I will share what those specific programs are available now in California. Now, that was in a nutshell what the American Rescue Plan included. However, you may be asking yourself, how much does California receive from the American Rescue Plan Act? The largest economic stimulus bill that ever passed by Congress will provide $26 billion in fiscal recovery funds to state and $16 billion to counties and cities with a population over 50,000. The funds directed to the state will be available until December 31st, 2024. The act provides $200 million to medical to cover the federal share of the cost for the COVID-19 vaccine administration. It provides $700 million for vaccine distribution efforts and $3.2 billion for testing, contact tracing, and other related efforts to stop the spread of COVID-19. The American Rescue Plan Act will also provide $2.2 billion in emergency rental assistance to families to help pay rent and utilities, $1 billion to homeowners for mortgage payments, and $1 billion in homelessness assistance, including emergency housing vouchers. And childcare and Head Start providers will receive $3.9 billion to help with expenses, and $15.1 billion will go to schools to resume in-person learning, addressing learning loss, and other activities. So while the American Rescue Plan Act included, was for 1.93 trillion, California gets only a portion of that. Here is an image of the amount in the US versus the amount in California. This is all a summary in billions. I want to direct ourselves to the business and nonprofit section, where we can see that businesses in the US will get 15 billion. However, California will get 2 billion of that, which will provide grants to underserved small businesses. Also, restaurants in the US will get 28.6. In California, it will be 3.5 billion for direct relief for the restaurant industry. Hospitals will get 8.5 billion. In California, it's 0.3 billion for relief funding to rural hospitals. And community health centers will get 7.6 billion. However, California will get 1.1 in funding for community health centers to administer vaccines and conduct testing and contact tracing. This image was provided by the California Legislative Analyst Office. So now I want to move into what does that mean again for California, and what are the updates on each of these particular programs as a result of the AARP. For the California Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program, which was already an existing program that again got funds, additional funds. The round 6 is opening on April 28th at 9 a.m. and will be closing on May 4th at 5 p.m. We'll be accepting new applications from businesses and nonprofits that have not applied to previous rounds. Those waitlisted applicants from previous rounds will be automatically rolled over. So there's no need for you to reapply if you've already applied. So if you are a business that has not heard from them, or that has been told that you're waitlisted, you are going to get another chance during round 6. Those nonprofit organizations that only applied during round 4, which, as you know, was a arts and cultural program, can also apply to round 6 if they meet the eligibility criteria. You can learn more at careliefgrant.com. As far as the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, one of the latest and most new programs, the SBA announced official Restaurant Revitalization Fund application and guidelines on April 17th. It was on Saturday. Under this announcement, the details on application requirements, eligibility, and a program guide are now available in English at sba.gov/restaurants, or in Spanish at sba.gov/restaurantes. The Restaurant Revitalization Fund is not yet accepting applications. However, you will see a sample application when you visit this website of all the requirements that are going to be needed. And this is where we encourage you for you to review the program guide and the eligibility to see if you qualify, as well as that sample application. My recommendation is that you start gathering the information that is required in that application, including the calculation. There are a couple of calculation forms or formulas that you're going to need to be able to provide as part of the application process. This is where it is important that if you don't know how to gather this information, this is where the EDC can come in play and help you with this process. An update also is that the RRF does not require a SAM number, a DUNS number, or a CAGE code. Originally, it was expected that it would, but it has been clarified that you do not need a SAM number, a DUNS number, or a CAGE code. There is also a COVID-19 joint response effort for Santa Barbara County. These are grants to individuals for those disproportionately impacted by COVID-19 and the economic consequences of the pandemic, and organizations actively engaging COVID-19 assistance efforts, providing essential services, reduced services due to COVID-19, and need operating support. There's a rolling deadline, and to learn more, you can visit the website here on the screen. There are also still loan opportunities for those that have not received a Paycheck Protection Program. This program is still available. It was recently extended to May 31st. Locally, Montecito Bank and Trust is still, it's currently accepting applications for first and second draw PPP loans from businesses in Ventura and Santa Barbara counties through April 23rd, 2021. You can visit their website to learn more about the program or how you can apply through them. The deadline is May 31st. However, again, Montecito will be accepting them through April 23rd. Also, you can learn more about the program eligibility and information by visiting the SBA's website. As far as the economic injury disaster loan, like I shared already, COVID-19 loans approved prior to April 17th for less than 500,000 are likely eligible for an increase based on new loan maximum amounts announced March 24, 2021. Again, businesses that received a loan subject to the previous loan limit can submit a request for an increase at this time. I did share in one of my first slides how you can access or how you can email regarding the EIDL. Also, you can visit the SBA's website to learn more. And just keep in mind that the deadline to apply for an EIDL, EIDL loan is December 31st, 2021. There is also the California Rebuilding Fund. This loan program is to support California's small businesses, especially those located in economically disadvantaged and historically underbanked areas of the state that are flexible, transparent, and are designed to help businesses access the capital and advisory services they need to get through these challenging economic times. You can learn more at the portal in connect2capital.com. We also have a local fund with EDC. It is an affordable capital. It's affordable capital that can be accessed through the EDC loan program. Each applicant is paired with one of our top tier financial advisors to ensure that you have the best access in reaching the capital you need. With 5 regional loan funds and low interest rates, the EDC maintains the commitment to reaching underserved communities. And you can learn more at our website, edccollaborative.com/EDC loan. Please keep in mind that these are loans. The only forgivable loan is the PPP loan. We also know that it included housing related assistance. You can view our EDC guide for advisors, tenants, and landlords during COVID-19 for immediate recommendation actions, negotiation strategies, and resources for residential and commercial renters. It is available under our COVID-19 resources page. You will also find that, California COVID-19 rent relief program. If you are an income eligible renter who has experienced a financial hardship due to COVID-19 and have past due rent, or you're a landlord who has experienced a loss in income because of unpaid rent, you may be eligible to get financial assistance now through the California COVID-19 Rent Relief Program. The program is not a first come, first served. Rather, priority will be given to those households with the greatest risk of being evicted. Learn more and apply directly at the housing .ca.gov website. And this applies for both landlords and individuals. The County of Santa Barbara rental and utility grant is also available. This emergency rental and utility assistance for eligible County of Santa Barbara residents that have experienced a loss of income due to COVID-19 pandemic and can demonstrate the need for rental support. You can also learn more at unitedwaysb.org. Going back a little bit to tax credits, I did mention the employee retention tax credit. The Tax Payer Certainty and Disaster Tax Relief Act of 2020, enacted December 27, 2020, amended and extended the employee retention credit and the availability of certain advance payments of the tax credits. You can learn more about the ERTC credit by visiting the IRS website and finding this information for more detail. Again, this is where it is very important that you communicate with your payroll provider and your tax accountant to help you make sure that you're taking advantage of this credit, as well as the Worker Opportunity Tax Credit. This credit is a federal tax credit available to employers for hiring individuals from certain targeted groups who have consistently faced significant barriers to employment, including qualified long-term employment recipients. The deadline is to apply for this credit is December 31st, 2025. And again, you can learn more about it at the IRS website. Social Security employee and employer portion referral. This payroll tax deferral period for Social Security tax began on March 27, 2020 and ended December 31st. Those businesses that apply or that took advantage of this deferral need to keep in mind that the deferred deposits of the employer share of Social Security tax must be deposited on December 31st, 2020. At least 50% of the eligible deferred amount must be deposited by December 31st. And on December 31st, 2022, the remaining amount is due. You can also learn more about it on the irs.gov. And lastly, the sales and use tax extension to file and pay. Small businesses who collect sales and use tax are encouraged to use the sale tax they have already collected to float any applicable obligations. For a full schedule of program and tax due dates, you can visit the CDTFA's website to learn more about the specific deadlines and taxes that you can defer. One more, I thought I said lastly, but it really, just really quick on unemployment benefits. The Employment Development Department recently released the following documents to help individuals understand the current unemployment benefits available. You can review California's unemployment benefit programs and understand the benefits you may be eligible for. Again, EDD has all this information. However, we have uploaded that on our website. So if you visit our website, you'll be able to find the links, or you can copy them from here. You can also review the types of federal unemployment benefits available during COVID-19, both in English and Spanish. Also, you can get them on our website as well. Unemployment insurance benefits are available for self-employed individuals and employees. If you have lost hours or wages due to the impact of COVID-19, apply for unemployment by visiting the EDD's website. Pandemic additional compensation. This is the additional $300 that I mentioned earlier. Federal stimulus payment automatically added to each week of benefits received from March 14th through September 4, 2021, which is 29 weeks. The EDD will automatically add the federal unemployment compensations to each week of benefits that you are eligible to receive. The pandemic additional compensation is also known as the federal pandemic unemployment compensation. Again, you can learn more at the EDD's website. Pandemic unemployment assistance for those self-employed individuals. The American Rescue Plan, like I shared earlier, extended PUA for an additional 29 weeks of benefits from March 14th, 2021 to September 4th, 2021. The pandemic unemployment assistance is for unemployed Californians who are not usually eligible for regular unemployment insurance benefits, including business owners, self-employed workers, independent contractors, or those with a limited work history who are out of business or have significantly reduced their services as a direct result of the pandemic. Again, you can learn more on the EDD's website, or you can meet with one of our advisors to help you navigate these resources. There is also a pandemic emergency unemployment compensation. Pandemic emergency unemployment compensation, it's for those who have exhausted the regular unemployment compensation benefits, and it's extended until September 4, 2021. And the EDD Workshop Program is also still available. The EDD Workshop Program allows employers to seek an alternative to layoffs, retaining their trained employees by reducing their hours and wages that can be partially offset with UI benefits. Please note, for nonprofits are not eligible to participate in the EDD Workshare. You can visit the Work Sharing Program website to learn more about its benefits for employers and employees and how to apply. You can visit the EDD's website. All of this information that I shared, if you are signed up to receive our newsletters, you would recognize that this is all the resources that we've shared on our newsletter. However, you can also find that information on our website at edcollaborative.com/COVID-19 page. However, if you still need help and you still need to navigate these resources individually because your situation may be, a bit complex, this is where we invite you to contact our hotline so we can help you with any questions, any concerns, or if you need assistance. We don't only work with these resources, but we also work for finance, marketing, operations, legal, and human resources. So please contact us at EDC so we can pair you up with an advisor and help you as best as we can. And I hope I didn't go too fast, but thank you very much again. And now time for our Q&A.
Time for Q&A. Thank you so much, my friend. It's so much information. And I just want to underscore what you just said, just as you were saying that, we got a question about how do we make an appointment with an advisor to discuss my specific businesses. So I'm going to do my plug for EDC. I am Visionality. My company is an EDC client. We got a Thomas Fire relief grant. I'm not sure if my business would be in operation if we didn't receive that assistance. And so EDC is here for you. They're your tax dollars at work. And as a business owner, I know I felt a lot of shame around asking for help and admitting that I needed help. And I don't regret it. I'm glad my business still exists. And so, EDC is here as your partner, and Brianne's going to post all of the contact information in the chat, but please reach out. This is what EDC is here for, and they're super, super great.
I'd also like to add, Emily, that there are times that we think, as a financial advisor helping, clients, I have found that we are sometimes so focused, or business owners are focused in one area of their business and they're forgetting all of the other areas. And when we come to really look at all the areas, we find that the issue is not in the finances, it's really in other areas of their business. And this is exactly why we recommend that you contact us and really, instead of being focused in just the one area, that you really allow somebody else's eyes to look into your business to help you identify what else you can do. I'll give a really quick example of a specific situation that I assisted with. I had a client who, came to EDC asking for help, for financial help, when in reality, what we discovered is that she needed an operations help to really understand what was going on in the operations that was affecting her finances. So by looking at the operations and being able to identify what area she needed to work on, and the area was simply, you need to be a little bit more specific with your employees of what the expectation is from you. And also you need to have obviously those clear expectations really well, written down. And once she started working on that, all of a sudden money started flowing, because she then she saw the benefit of making that clear on that area. that's where we're, working on all areas in your business. It's going to make a significant impact, especially if you are not just trying to recover, but move forward and continue growing your business. So keep that in mind as you are not only seeking for these type of assistance, but how else it's going to help you in other areas. So please reach out to us.
100%. All right, we've got 13 questions and 20 minutes. You ready?
All right.
And everyone who's here, put those questions. Oh, 14 questions. Here we go. If you got PPP and your unemployment was halted and then you restarted to catch up, what do you do for the weeks that you had the PPP? Do you put the amount on your unemployment certified form, or do you have to suspend unemployment?
So EDD has a specific instructions when it comes to certifying each week, right? So if you were receiving unemployment, you were, certifying that you didn't have work or you weren't receiving any earnings from anywhere else. When you come to certify, you would only certify what you receive for that week, or however it applies, however often you're certifying. And EDD will automatically calculate what it is that you are supposed to get or not get. So just report PPP like you normally would any other type of earnings. So the fact that you received a full PPP loan in 1 week, but didn't use it to pay yourself that full week, you would only report what you paid yourself from that PPP for that week until you use those funds. So please keep in mind that, you don't have to report it all at once, but you do need to report it as you're paying it to yourself. A best practice would be look at your P&L, look at how much you paid yourself, from that week or from that month, however it is that you are working that out so that you are complying with, notifying EDD as the funds that you're receiving from your employment, which in this case would be covered by PPP.
And you can receive a whole bunch of different support programs. You just can't double dip those funds. So what that means is I can't pay myself for this week using both PPP and unemployment. I could use PPP this week and I could use unemployment next week. So you can have both of those pieces. You just can't use them to pay the same bills. So I know this is confusing, which is why you should call it EDC so that someone like Juliana can help you out. Okay, we have an art gallery. We were shut sometimes and not others. For the shuttered venue, must it be closed all of the time?
No, so you need to be able to show obviously different periods, or not different periods, but the impact that your business had as part of, you need to first of all make sure that you do qualify as as the description of the types of businesses that that are covered under the shutter venue grants. I think that the easiest way for you to understand if you are this type of business is, do you receive pay from tickets, right? Like if you charge for the entrance and you lost that income, right? Because remember, for the shutter venue operators grant, it is for those businesses that their main income or their main gross income comes from charging, at the door, let's say, or the ticket sales.
And they have walls in quote unquote. So we've also gotten questions for like, I'm a wine festival that has 5 different locations, right? And we don't believe that they qualify because yes, maybe they receive money from ticket sales, but they're not technically a physical venue.
Allocation, correct. And so just, keep that in mind. But if the impact was there and you're able to prove it, then you should have no problem applying for it if you do qualify under the description of those businesses.
Awesome. We are a small mom and pop with no employees. I thought PPP was for payroll, but we certainly could use some assistance for working capital for promotion and inventory as we recover. How do we apply for PPP, and should we're a sole proprietorship?
So if you're a sole proprietorship, back in March, there was an announcement that sole proprietors formula changed for those businesses who had had or didn't have employees. So if you're a sole proprietor and have a Schedule C, you're going to need your 2019 or 2019 taxes to show the gross income. So you'll be able to use the gross income of your business. That's line 7 on Schedule C. Plus, if you had employees, the numbers, there's 3 line items within the Schedule C that pertain to employees' compensation, including wages, including any benefits and retirement benefits. So make sure that you're taking that into account. If you had no employees, then it becomes very simple. You just use a Schedule C line 7 to calculate the amount of your loan. If you had employees, then it's a combination of that line 7 plus the other lines that pertain to employees' compensation and benefits. So again, meet up with an EDC advisor, contact us so we can help you sort through those and help you understand how you should apply and what type of documentation you need to have available.
Well, and so this person said we could use the money for working capital for promotion and inventory. So as a reminder, the PPP is a loan. And so in theory, you could use it for anything, but it's not forgivable. So the big magical thing about the PPP is that it's forgivable if you use it for approved purposes. So just definitely keep that in mind. But don't you also need to certify during your application that your intention is to use it for the approved purposes?
Correct. However, for sole proprietors, it does allow them to use those funds to pay for the regular business expenses. Unlike other businesses that have payroll, then they have 60-40, 60% for payroll only and 40% for other expenses. In the case of sole proprietors, it actually allows them to use the funds mainly however they need, because the SBA and the government does understand that this is how sole proprietors live and survive. So it is important that you know that as a sole proprietor, you have a little bit more flexibility using those funds versus a business like an LLC or S Corp or C Corp that does have that requirement of 60% payroll, 40% other expenses. Again, the best way to understand it is looking at your profit and loss. How do you normally use your, the funds from regular business monies, and how much do you pay yourself from that? You would kind of keep the same, formula moving forward. But again, everybody's situation is a bit specific or a bit different. So this is where we encourage you to meet with an advisor just to, clarify those things.
Well, and I know that this moment has kind of been a big wake up call for a lot of very small business owners who, didn't have really tight books. And when, if you said, I need to see your P&L in 2 minutes, you wouldn't necessarily be able to log on to QuickBooks and generate that P&L and say, here you go. We've heard of a lot of businesses who didn't have separate bank accounts or who didn't have business licenses. So I want to really encourage every business owner here to take this moment to just, I know it's a pain in the butt but this is the moment to take, to call EDC, to have someone help you bring all of this stuff up to par so that it's easier to apply for these programs, which leads me into the next question. Regarding the California grant program, a sole proprietor, independent contractor, is it necessary to have a business license? I do not have a fictitious name to receive the funds.
Well, in essence, you should have a business license depending on what type of business you are. When you are, when you have a business or doing business within any locality or the county or the state, unless your city or your county has said you're not required, which I doubt, you must have a business license of some sort, either a city license or a county license, mainly not a California license, because not everybody is required to have a California, just only general contractors, or if you are in a specific industry that requires like California, license or contractor's license, that's a bit different. But if you are a business owner, a self-employed individual doing business or just doing business in any city or county, you are required to register. Again, I would encourage you to to visit either your city or your county and find out if you are truly not required to have a business license. If you're not, then what I have learned is that the industry, or in this case, the California Relief Grant Program, is then using your tax return as validation of a legitimate business. So keep that in mind. But and also the California Relief Grant does have a business guide where it shows that all types of documentation that is acceptable to be able to apply or to prove that piece of the requirement or eligibility.
Awesome. And the amazing Tracy at EDC just chatted me and said, EDC can help businesses determine their city contact information and what licenses they need. One more time, call EDC. Okay. Does the restaurant grant program include vendors to hospitality or restaurants?
So I would highly encourage you to visit the website that we did share about the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, because it's gonna give you more detail on the different on how to know and understand if your business applies under that.
I hopped on the website really quick, and Brian, if you can put that link in the chat, I'd appreciate it. I didn't see anything about vendors, and the wording is always so very nuanced and specific. So you really have to log on and just think about your own business nuances to know if it applies, if you can qualify.
And this is keep in mind the word restaurant, right? So it is for restaurants, even though it is also for, you know, trucks or for food trucks, right? Keep that in mind, because if that is, what is the main source of income? Is it people that come to your establishment and sit down and receive the services and the products from you? As a vendor, you may not, because they don't come. Like it is specific to the restaurant industry, or to the restaurant establishments, or that act as that establishment. And again, when you go through the eligibility requirements, you will find that it does specify even some examples of the situations where it does qualify.
Yeah.
And we're learning more in-depth information. We are thinking of possibly doing another workshop that, you know, will go into more detail with that. There is a sample application on the website. So I would highly encourage you to review and see and read through, you know, those documents so you can see if it applies to your business or not.
Well, and I know too, it can be so frustrating to be like just adjacent to the place that help is receiving. I had a colleague who was $600 in gross revenue away from getting one of these grants. And I know that can be really heartbreaking and frustrating. And I just want to reiterate, you know, we are continually seeing new programs come up. More help is on the way. Hang in there. Like, don't lose faith. Like, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Just like, hold on. And what we're seeing is that these programs often put out like a first phase, and they learn a lot from the first phase. And then they sometimes offer like a secondary phase that have different nuances or different specific program areas. So just please hang in there. I know it's tough.
Yes.
If you applied for round one EIDL and now have a 2021 1099, good for you, filing your taxes early on time, which shows considerably less revenue. Is there a way to add it if you are waitlisted?
So when you say, okay, the EIDL versus waitlisted, there's no such thing as waitlisted under the EIDL. So I wonder
if you're just waiting to get approved, maybe?
So we do know that the SBA is reaching out directly to businesses that applied for an EIDL loan. You do need to wait to hear from them, or like I shared in one of the previous slides, or one of my slides, you can email them directly to find out if you do qualify for more funds, and then they'll let you know what type of documentation is going to be required to show that you qualify for more funds. So I just want to make sure that if it's an EIDL loan that you already received and you would like to access more capital, you'll need to either contact SBA or wait until they send you an invitation to apply for more funds, one or the other.
And you only have 30 days from receiving that email. So don't sit on it. Get on that. Also, my friend, we have 6 minutes left. Do you have extra time to hold on? We've got 13 questions
I
remaining.
do have extra time, so if our attendees
Okay.
would like to stay, remember, we are here for you. The reason I go kind of fast through the slides is because I like to give enough time, try to give enough time for answers. So we are here for your specific questions. So
And as a
Good time.
reminder, we are recording this and you'll receive a link to it and all that stuff. So we got a California relief grant for one of the businesses I am a part owner of. We have applied for another business I also own 50% of. Each business I own 50%. When I talked to the customer service person at Lendistry running the program, asking what had happened on the other business, he said they counted it as a duplicate, but I could reapply April 28th. However, when signing the grant docs for the first business, it said that I must agree to not accept or apply for a grant for another business I'm the majority owner of. So my question is, does 50% qualify for a majority?
it does. And again, you will need to decline one versus the other. So you can only apply for one business. Even if you have multiple, you get to choose one business that you apply for. So if you've already applied and they've told you, there's a duplicate, did you put you on the wait list? And if so, then you shouldn't apply for the new one. If they didn't put you and they simply decline on both of them, then you can apply on the 28th as a, kind of like as a brand new application stating that, the others were already declined. That was, if you were declined or, not declined, but if you were told that you're not eligible because of duplicate, again, this is where we need to be careful in how we apply for the grants and understanding that you can only apply for one business, not multiple. So if you do get across that, that problem, make sure that you contact Lendistry and let them know, hey, this is what happened. Now I want to apply correctly for one business. I've declined any others. I don't have, but this is the one business that I'm choosing to apply. I know it gets complex, but there are rules and we need to follow them.
And you want to apply with the business with the highest gross revenue?
Correct.
Awesome. ID Me is consistently for the last month said waiting time is 5 hours. What can you do to circumvent? So are you familiar with ID Me?
I'm not. This is the first time I hear.
Yeah, so I don't know ID Me either. So Linda, will you send us a link, like either in the Q&A and Brianne can check it out, or direct message Brianne in the chat so that we can look it up? Because I haven't heard of that. So that makes me nervous.
Yes, I haven't either. So that's why I'm like, this is the first time I hear about it. So
yeah,
please
so
send
it. Yeah. Oh, of course, Brianne already sent me the link. So Brianne, you want to check that out and let us know quickly what it is. In order to keep from closing my business due to lost revenue, due to consumers' lack of personal shopping, and the closures of venues holding special events, mainly weddings, I am having to relocate to a smaller location because I cannot afford the rent in my current location. The move has become very costly, wondering if there might be any help regarding this type of thing.
So if you're a business that you're still in operation, even if you had to move your business out of into a new location, of had to, restructure in any way, as long as you're active, there should be some type of assistance, either through, using one of the resources like EIDL, one of the grants, even perhaps a loan. If you haven't explored that, you should be able to utilize those funds to help you with this transition or change, or what you're going through. However, if you're closing, I just want to make sure I understood correctly. If you're having to relocate, you should be able to use the funds available. Again, an EIDL loan, a PPP loan. When you apply for the California Relief Grant, you can use any of those funds to help you with this, with what you had to do to continue your business, operating your business. So relocating, restructuring, that should not affect how you can use these funds. If you've already applied for these funds and you've already exhausted them and you're looking for more, I would then encourage you to, meet with an SBDC advisor to really understand what's going on in your business and why is it that even with all of this help, you still are needing more. Again, this is kind of going back to what I mentioned at the beginning of the Q&A, where sometimes you're only looking at one area of the business and maybe not, tapping into the other areas. So I really encourage you to, meet with an advisor to help you really understand what's going on in your business and why it is that you need more. We do know that the help sometimes was not enough. We do know that, and this is why the American Rescue Plan, came about too. Yet it is important that you really ensure that you are tapping into all the areas of your business, not just one. So that's my recommendation.
Awesome. I'm a small business owner who accepted EIDL loan back in August 2020. Is there any chance I could apply for this loan to become a grant?
So no, the EIDL is not a grant, it's a loan. And you do have, I believe up to 30 years to pay it, depending. They should have given you that option when you accepted the loan. The only amount that does become a grant is the EIDL advance. Now, you mentioned that you acquired this loan in August 2020, which by that time, the EIDL targeted or the EIDL advance was exhausted. So you might have not received an EIDL advance, which means you wouldn't be able to convert this into a grant. It is a loan and it must be paid. And fortunately or unfortunately, you did sign the loan documents that does state, what the responsibilities of paying that loan. So again, if you think you are having, trouble, I do want to say that this loan, the due dates for the first payment of these loans were extended. So for those businesses that were supposed to start paying 6 months, into 2021, they got extended to an additional 18 and 24 months. So look into that and see how it applies to you. So you don't need to worry about making a payment just yet. But unfortunately, you cannot turn it into a grant.
Yeah, so PPP starts as a loan and you sign loan documents with a repayment schedule. And then when you use it for approved purposes, you apply for loan forgiveness, which essentially turns it into a grant. EIDL is a loan, it's a loan, it's a loan. And at the beginning of EIDL, you could get a grant, but you didn't need to apply for it to be a grant. It was just kind of like an upfront, here's a little extra cash. So then that EIDL loan is a loan with, by the way, an excellent interest rate and a very generous repayment. So yes, the EIDL loan does need to be paid back, and it's typically 30 years.
Correct.
Do you have any information on the Recovery Startup Business Credit?
Okay, thank you so much. I know that you and I spoke on Friday, and unfortunately, I don't have additional information on that. So keep in tune. As soon as we have more information, we'll certainly share it either on our eBlast, email information, or certainly maybe through a session we can navigate it together. Like I said.
Awesome. Yes, Joyce. Oh, I'm sorry. No, Joyce, the PowerPoint will not be available. So the recording will, and then go to the EDC website, because this information changes sometimes multiple times a day. So that PowerPoint could be obsolete in 2 hours. So just go to the EDC website because it is continually updated. Yeah. Who should we reach out to if we were awarded a small PPP round 2 prior to the change in the sole proprietor formula? Oops. We have always reinvested in the business and never took a paycheck. For that reason, our PPP was very small. The formula for line 7 of our schedule would be larger. Is it possible to request a reevaluation for the size?
Unfortunately, there isn't. If you did apply for a PPP prior to that change, unfortunately, there's no way to change it. I know that it's hard to take that, and I hear you, and I completely understand that it's frustrating and not the best, not what you want to hear, but unfortunately, there's no way that you can go back and adjust that number. It was due to, due to legislation. When you applied and you obtained based on the old, provisions, that's what it was. It's not retroactive to, to apply the new rules for those in the back. Otherwise, imagine how many businesses and processes would have had to be done. I mean, it's just unfortunate that it's done that way. However, I will encourage you to then look into possibly, maybe applying for a loan through one of our local resources to see if that may help with the cash flow. I would, that's really right now one of the things that, comes to mind. But yeah, unfortunately, there's no way that you can, revise it.
Thank you. Once I receive my PPP loan, how quickly do I need to use the funds and where do I apply for forgiveness?
Can you repeat that question? Sorry.
For PPP, how long do I have to use the funds and where do I apply for forgiveness?
Okay, so for PPP, you have from 8 to 24 weeks. You choose your cover period. That is called the cover period. So you have from 8 to 24 weeks from the date of disbursement. So once you get that loan, you have either at least 8 weeks, or at the most 24 weeks to use those funds. And then when you apply for forgiveness, you will apply for forgiveness with the same entity or the same lender that you receive the funds from. Depending on who that lender is, they each, most or all lenders have a portal where you applied for the loan, and then also they have a portal for forgiveness. And if your loan is under 150,000, then the process is very simple. You are still required to keep the records of how you use the funds in the event that your loan is selected for a review. But certainly very important that you know that it is through your original lender, to whoever you got the funds that you apply for forgiveness, not directly with the SBA. Your lender will act on your behalf with the SBA. And remember, it is your lender's best interest for that loan to be forgiven. So work with your lender, follow their portal, follow their instructions as to how to apply for forgiveness so that you can get that loan forgiven.
And what's the timeline for applying for forgiveness?
10 months from the date of the end of your cover period. So keep all of those dates in mind. When you receive the funds, then from that date, you have up to 24 weeks. So if after 24 weeks, that's the end of your cover period, then you have 10 months from the end of your cover period. So if you chose 8, then it's 10 months from the 8 weeks. If you chose 24, then it's 10 months from the 24 weeks. If you choose a random day, like 12 weeks, 13 weeks, 15 weeks, you could still do that. It is from that, the end of your cover period, 10 months from that date. And otherwise, if you don't apply for forgiveness, then you will, be required to start paying for that loan.
Great. Is EDC working with private childcare providers to assist with looking for support? And I have information from our friend Tracy at EDC. So she says, yes, the EDC can assist childcare providers as part of our early child education initiative. We provide access to capital for commercial centers and technical assistance and advising. And I know we've occasionally done webinars specifically for childcare providers. So definitely call EDC and ask for that help, and then look out for our specific childcare webinars.
And this is where, again, you are paired up with an advisor that can help you with navigating, the different resources available to child care providers. And again, tapping into other areas of your business, not just the one financial, or in this case, but the different areas, to ensure that you get the best access, you get access to the best programs and the most exposure. So definitely, worth to call.
Yes, yes. Is there an EIDL portal where I can see my information about my loan?
So the EIDL, yes, you should be able to, when you apply for the EIDL loan, you were given a loan number, first of all, or an application number. You were also prompted to go into a website and register your email and all your information. As a matter of fact, that was the portal where you accepted the loan if you had accepted that loan. So if you don't have that information, definitely, visit the EIDL,
Maybe
I think we're
SBA, right?
the SBA, correct. And they have, it's going to be a bit of a different portal. So obviously, make sure that I would encourage you to look for your original emails. Hopefully you didn't delete those emails where they send you the information as to, how to accept your EIDL loan. But look for those original emails because they'll have the links to the exact portal or to the direct link to the portal. However, if you can't, then definitely, the SBA's website will direct you. You're going to need to do a little bit of digging to find, the portal. I don't have that handy, so I wouldn't be able to provide it right now unless one of you can. And
Yeah,
behind.
I tried to do it really quick, so I'll try. It seems like every time I log onto the SBA, like I need to re-verify something but I believe it is a login with the SBA, because I know that they sent me a letter saying in May it's time to start your repayment. So I logged on to schedule that repayment, but then they said, never mind. So I believe it's with the SBA.
It is with the SBA. It is a portal within the SBA. What I was trying to make sure that it's not something that you can just click on here, access your account on the, for your EIDL. You're going to need to be doing a little bit of digging, but again, look for your original emails as to when you accepted that loan. That should be the portal where you access it again for more information on your loan.
Great.
Or contact the SBA to help you with retrieving your information.
Yeah, have a little project on the side to do while you wait on hold with our friends at the SBA. They're getting a lot of calls these days. We have applied for California Relief Grant, Ventura Grant. We've been invited for EIDL Advance. We applied promptly, but have not received a reply. What is the standard time for a reply?
For an EIDL, unfortunately, there's millions of businesses applying for that, and there's really no clear date or time frame that it does. It is my understanding that files are assigned to each officer within the SBA offices, and some may get through them a little bit faster than others, but I don't know what the time frame is. Unfortunately, I just know that there is a lot of applicants and they're working through them as quickly as they can. Definitely, if you received the communication in the past and then you're already in the queue, it's just a matter of waiting. And that's for really all programs. Unless you have not heard anything or received any communication, then I would encourage you to, check in with them by calling their customer service.
Yep. I have received an EIDL loan and grants that were deposited into my business bank account. Stella, you've got a business bank account. This is very good. Should I open a separate account for my PPP loan?
There is different opinions about opening a second PPP or not. That is completely okay if you want to. However, it's not required. The only thing that is required is that you can provide information as to how your funds were used. And particularly as an accounting professional doing books for other businesses, I've been able to track the funds without having to open a second account. As a matter of fact, I myself discourage it simply because it creates extra work. And I've been able to apply certain systems within QuickBooks to track those funds, regardless of what account they're coming out of. If it makes you get more organized and it makes you feel better and you can manage tracking multiple accounts and the funds, I would say go for it, but you're not required. As long as you're able to provide proof of how the funds were used, you don't have to open a second account. Again, yeah, I personally don't recommend it, but that's just my professional personal opinion.
Yeah, at the beginning, we really pushed people, open a separate account because you're going to have super clean books and you're going to have to prove it. And we've since revised that recommendation, because again, if you're running really clean books, you should be able to pull a report if you have it set up that says, here's, I received $52,000 of PPP, and here's how I spent $52,000 of PPP, because you have that categorized in your QuickBooks. So call EDC or your bookkeeper, and they should be able to get you all sorted out. I heard what Juliana said about business licenses. However, she did not say it is a requirement to receive the grant. Do you know if it is or is not a requirement to receive grant funds?
It is my understanding that it is a requirement to receive the grant, because they need to validate that you are an existing business. Again, unless for whatever reason, and again, this is why I recommended that you check with your county and your city, unless you, for whatever reason, can prove that you're not required and that's why you don't have it, then, Landistry will work with you on what other documentations you'll be able to provide. But it is my understanding it is a requirement, or there must be a way that you validate that you are a legitimate business or a valid business or an active business. And the best way, most simplest way, is through a county license or through a business city license. So it is my understanding it's a requirement.
And I know that filling out one more piece of paper is annoying. I'm certainly annoyed every time I have to renew my business license, and it's one application once a year. It is not hideously expensive. So I know it's annoying. Just get it. Just get your business license. Sorry.
And I also want to add two other really, big points about, having a business license in the city that you operate. This is how cities get funding, right? If you are conducting business in a city or a county, and that means you're producing sales, that is money that is being invested into your city or county. And this is part of how they operate, right? These are the funds. You paying a business license is how that's how our cities get funded, to get the resources that we need to be able to, to work. So make sure that you understand that. And also, this is another way that, again, you can validate your business. How do I know you're a legitimate business? That's very important. As a matter of fact, we within our website have a resource for the startup checklist, for those businesses, for both the Santa Barbara County and Ventura County. So if you're not certain what licenses and where to go, visit our website and look under resources, and you'll find the business startup checklist or guide, and it'll tell you if you are this type of business, here are all the contact information to your city, your county, both in Ventura and Santa Barbara. So make sure that you're looking at that.
And I know, honestly, it's annoying, Juliana. And also, we have heard of rampant fraud with the early programs, where it was just like, people need help, get the help out. And so there were so many bad actors who took money away from legitimate small businesses. And I know that everyone on this call is a legitimate small business. I know it's a pain in the butt to get your business license, but they're really not cracking down. They're really insisting on these kinds of validations, because there was so much fraud that literally stole money out of the hands of small businesses. So I know it's frustrating, but you just got to do it. Sorry.
Correct.
Are PPP loans still required to have a business start date before 2/15/2020?
Yes, they are. So again, if you're close to that date or after that date, another thing you can do is check with your lender and see. But yes, it is. It's part of the provisions within the PPP.
We have some intel about ID.me, and so let's see. ID.me is the EDD oversight link for the EDD. They are real for EDD clients receiving PUA and IU. So thank you for that intel on ID.
And thank you for reminding me of that, because I had heard that EDD does need to verify the individuals. As a matter of fact, some individuals went through that ID for whatever reason. I couldn't remember that's what it was called. And some of them, because they were not following through with going through that identification or verification process, they stopped receiving unemployment. So you do need to go through that process from EDD.
Awesome. Friends, we have
Done?
come to the end. Hurry up and put any additional questions in the Q&A. Brian, I see your question, but I have some follow-up questions about what it relates to. So we're going to reach out directly about that. So if there are any other questions, quick, put them in the Q&A. Juliana, you are wonderful. I'm going to give one more plug to EDC. Call them. Your tax dollars at work. They're here to help. Like I mentioned, I came into EDC to get a Thomas Fire relief grant. And since then, I've met with them regularly. We've restructured my business together. We've cleaned up my books together. We've talked about strategy together. So they're really an incredible resource. And it is free. I mean, can't argue with that.
That's right. Your tax dollars at work. And again, keep in mind that you're not alone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share, this information with you. Stay tuned. If you need additional guidance, please contact EDC. And again, thank you for joining us this afternoon. We'll look forward to seeing you at our next event. And thank you to the County of Santa Barbara for, allowing us to share this information with them. Thank you, Jasmine, and thank you all the staff. Thank you, Visionality.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.